Hi, Mark Hayward here, yo-yo spin top juggling champion, and welcome to my tutorial series on spin tops. Spin tops are super cool. They're one of the world's oldest toys. They've been around forever, and there's a ton of stuff that you can do with them, even more than most people think. If you'd like to learn more about spin tops and learn more tricks, please come subscribe to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to wind and spin the top. And make sure you watch all the way to the end, because I'll have a section with troubleshooting as well as other tips that'll make it more fun. The first step, of course, is getting a top. Your top will come with string. The strings come in different lengths. Some of that depends on the top or what country you bought the top from. In general, you want the string to be about 6 feet long. That's my preference. Some people like shorter strings, especially the Mexican demonstrators. It all works, you just have to figure out how to do it. There are two broad kinds of tops. You've got a fixed tip or a bearing tip. This one is fixed. When I twist the tip, it doesn't move relative to the body. A bearing tip would spin independently. It just affects tricks later on. So how do we wind it? You wind the top differently depending on if you're right or left-handed. If you're right-handed, hold the top in your left hand. You put your thumb on the tail of the string, wind the string around the crown, point the tip toward your right hand, and then wind toward you. And the way you remember which way that is if you accidentally stuck your finger out, you would go up your nose. The first couple wraps should be tight. The rest of it needs to be tight, but not gorilla tight. And you keep winding until you run out of string. Like so. But I'm left-handed, so I'm going to do it for me. I hold the top in my right hand, put my thumb on the tail of the string, wind around the crown, lock down on the knot, and then start from the tip and work my way up. Before you throw it, you got to figure out how to hold it. And there are a lot of variations in top spinning. I do a particular thing with holding the string that I consider to be wrong, but it's the way that I do it. I'm going to show you how I think you should do it, and I'm going to keep doing it my own way. I think the best way to hold the top is that you put the button behind your fingers on your throwing hand, and then you're going to hold the top in your fingertips with the tip pointing straight up. It's easy in this configuration to let the whole thing fly across the room in one unit. You don't want to do that. So when you release the top, you bend your fingers so you can hold onto the string. That was hard for me when I first started out, so I decided to put the button on the inside of my hand and twist the string around. This is harder and will make your life harder later, so I don't recommend it. Definitely try to learn it with the button behind your hand. Chances are when you get your top, the button won't be attached to the string. There should be a hole in it. You simply thread the string through the hole and tie an overhand knot. If that knot isn't quite big enough, you can get fancy and do a figure-8 knot or just tie 2 overhand knots, and that should do it. Some people do tie the top string onto their finger the same way that you would with a yo-yo string with a slip knot. And it's not wrong, but there are certain tricks that you won't be able to do with the string in that configuration. So I recommend learning with the button. Now that you've got the top wound, it's time to throw it. Hold the top in your fingertips with the tip pointing straight up. Keep your arm straight, lock your elbow. You're just going to move your shoulder. Bring your arm back, come forward quickly, and stop. And you're aiming for a spot about 4 or 5 feet out in front of you, like this.
Nice.
So that's how you wind and throw a top. If you didn't get it right away, don't worry. It takes practice, but you'll get there. The main problem that people have when they're spinning a top, besides getting it to actually turn, is getting it to land on its point. When you release the top, you want the tip to be pointing straight up, because as it unwinds, it's going to flip over 180 degrees so it can land right on the point. So that means that if you throw it and it lands on its side, it's because you released it on its other side. So you will have to adjust your throw enough to get that tip pointing straight up. There is a little bit of variation with different kinds of tops. Some need to lean out a little bit outside, some need to lean a little bit inside, forward or back. But the gist of it is that you can diagnose what's going wrong if you can watch exactly how your top lands. If it's landing on its side and you want it to be 90 degrees in that direction, then you've got to adjust your throw to be 90 degrees in that direction. When you throw the top, your perfect throw will land right on the ground with a little click, just like when you watch a professional bowler. A bowler doesn't throw the ball into the lane, boom, and let it land, and neither does a top spinner. This is going to take some practice, but with the perfect throw will come down at an angle from your arm and land right on the floor. You can throw a top on just about any surface. However, if you throw on something really hard and abrasive like concrete or brick, you can break your top. The ideal surface that you want is dense carpet or something like a linoleum floor. The realities of the physics of tops is that because they have this tiny little point with all this weight balanced on it, that if you're spinning on a wood floor or something else that could be damaged, you can punch holes in your floor. I've done it. Trust me, it's easier to do than you think. So be careful what surroundings you have when you're spinning a top so that you don't damage it. The big scoop is how you get the top into the palm of your hand. Once it's spinning on the ground, you bring your hand in, boop, pop it right in there. This is what it looks like. Once the top is spinning, you come in with your middle and ring fingers open. And it depends on if you're right-handed or left-handed. If you're left-handed, the top is going to be spinning clockwise, so you have to use the finger that's on the left side of it. The spin will take it right in. If you're right-handed, it'll be spinning counterclockwise, so use the finger on the right side, and that will allow the spin to pop it directly into your hand. So that's how you do the big scoop. One of the big tricks that people work on with tops is the target shoot, to get it to land in a plate or a frisbee or some other target. In order to get close-up shots for a couple of tricks in this series, I had to aim the top for where the camera was looking. I aimed for this knot right here. I didn't always get it.
Nope.
So close. And really, the whole secret here is practice, persistence, and understanding exactly how long your string is. It's something you're just going to have to do a lot to get good at, so go for it. You can do it. There are a whole bunch of tricks you can do with a spin top and a plate. So you're going to need your top and a plate. Let's go for it. You can target shoot your top right into the plate. You can also spin it and then scoop it in. Or you can use the launcher to spin the top. No matter how you get your top into the plate, try sliding it off into your hand and throwing and catching it. You can also hold the plate with both hands if that works better for you. Once you've got the top in the plate, try body moves like these and whatever else you can think of. I've shown you a bunch of cool plate tricks. See how many more you can find. There are more out there to discover. It's super fun to be able to spin a top, but even more fun is getting to manipulate it off the ground. And one of the best ways to do that is with the skyrocket. It's the first time when you're going to use the string to get that top up off the ground. Check it out. For the skyrocket, the top is spinning on the ground. You hold both ends of the string. You bring the string between yourself and the top. You wrap with your throw hand around one time, around the tip, and then with your non-throw hand, you throw the string all the way across. And what's going to happen is when you pull up, the string is going to make a nice little loop around the tip that's going to allow it to come up into the air. Then you bring your hand out and catch it right in your palm. And now you can do the skyrocket. Only use your powers for good. The trick we're going to learn is called the hover, and it's a great way to get the top off the ground. For the hover, the top is spinning on the ground. You bring about 12 to 18 inches worth of string between you and the top. You wind it around the tip, and then you lift up with both hands. As you lift up, it may start to flutter a little bit, and that's okay. It may even start walking toward one hand or another. And before it runs out of spin, grab it. And that's the hover. It's super cool, and it doesn't go the same way every time, which is extra exciting. Hopefully you've already learned the skyrocket, but there are other ways to pick up the top as well. Another way to get the top off the ground is to wait until it's leaning away from you, put the string behind it, and pull it towards your chest. This method doesn't have a name that I know of, so I'm calling it the quick pickup. It seems descriptive and accurate. Hi, how you doing? The position of the top is critical. It has to be leaning away from you. Wait for it.
Yeah.
We're going to learn the trick today that is the best way to get a fast spinner into your hand. It's called the boomerang. For the boomerang throw, you start out the same way as the regular throw, where you come down and forward, but then you pull back and up. And the idea is that the top is going to come in a nice gentle arc through the air. You'll bring your hand up to catch it and you'll cushion it as it comes down. Use less force on the pullback than on the throw, and you can catch the top with either hand. Once you can get the top into your hand, you will have to learn how to balance it. Check out my instructions on how to do that. Now you can do the boomerang. It's so great. Keep practicing. It's hard. It takes a while to get it down, but you can get there. Tilt adjustment is an important part of top spinning. Even the best spinners have imperfect throws sometimes, so the ability to make corrections to stand the top up or lay it down is really valuable. It takes some time to learn how to correct the top to stand upright in your hand. Essentially, you're going to be doing circles. If you are left-handed, you're going to do circles that are clockwise, and if you're right-handed, you'll do counterclockwise circles. You can see in some of what I've done that when the top is spinning really quickly, it's a much bigger, slower circle to make the correction. And as the speed of the top slows down, it becomes a smaller circle or even just a little wiggle. Here is a series of corrections that range from when the top is spinning very quickly to very slowly, all on the same spin. To get the top to stand up, move your circle in the direction the tip is pointing. The speed and the diameter of the circles is completely dictated by how fast the top is precessing or tilting. You can upset a nice vertical spin by briefly touching the side of the top with your fingernail if you want to practice corrections. You can also correct the tilt of the top by using the string. Touch the string to the crown at 90 degrees from the direction you want it to lean. It's very strange. You'll just have to try it. So the reason for this trick is that you may be working on a tile floor that has grooves. You might want to move the top out of that area. And if it's leaning too much for you to do a trick, by doing the tilt correction with the string, you can make it go upright, which is super useful. It's going to take a little bit of practice to figure it out. It's a weird motion, but just keep at it and eventually you'll understand how it works. It's time to learn both merry-go-round and crazy eight. Merry-go-round is where the top swings below your hand, and crazy eight is where it spins both below and above. The first thing you do is you get the string between your thumb and the tip of the top. And what's going to happen? It looks like the top is shooting off this way, but in fact you're moving your hand out from underneath it while holding the string with your other hand. Then you swing it around in a circle and get it back to your palm before it stops spinning. Crazy eight starts the same way as the merry-go-round, but you add a little bit more onto the end. For this trick, you'll be swinging it above your hand as well as below. If you're left-handed, you'll swing the top clockwise, right-handed counterclockwise. So the top is in your palm, you bring the string between the tip of the top and your thumb. You're going to pull your hand out from underneath it. Once you've got it out from underneath, you swing it around, both above and below your hand, and get it back to your palm before it stops spinning.
Both above and below your hand, and get it back to your palm before it stops spinning.
and that's Crazy 8. There's a lot of variations. You can do different numbers of rotations. Make it your own. It's super cool. If you want to learn more tricks and other cool stuff, I have more tutorials on yo-yos and spin tops on my YouTube channel. Come and subscribe, it'll be great. Plus, I've got goofy comedy videos and performance stuff, and if you even like making stuff, you can see videos on that as well. Thanks so much, see you next time. Special thanks to my friend Taylor Glenn for filming, advice, and general awesomeness. Taylor has a ton of amazing tutorials on her channel, Taylor Tries, so check it out.
Yeah.